I'll never forget the way Karen's jaw just unhinged when she realized the police she'd called on us weren't coming over to cuff me or my daughter, but to ask her why she was causing trouble in the first place. There's something almost beautiful about watching someone so sure of themselves finally hit a wall they can't bulldoze through. You know what I mean? But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me back up a second and tell you how one power-drunk HOA president managed to blow up her own little fiefdom, and why my daughter's first day as a homeowner became the start of the wildest week I've had in years. The morning started out the way these things always do. My back already sore from the drive, me wrestling boxes out of a moving truck, and Emily just radiating that nervous excitement you only get when you're holding the keys to your first home. We hadn't even got the back of the truck open before she showed up. Arms crossed, lips pinched, that neon pink tracksuit you could probably see from space, and a voice sharp enough to file your taxes. "Excuse me," she said, her tone making it sound like we'd parked a carnival on her lawn instead of a U-Haul. "You can't unload here without the proper permits from the HOA board. Rules are rules." Emily, bless her, tried to play nice, stuck out her hand, introduced herself, but Karen didn't even blink. Just started quoting bylaws and waving around a little leather notebook like she was expecting Simon Cowell to walk out and judge her performance. "You're not on my resident list. There's no record of Unit 47 changing hands. You need to vacate the premises." I put my box down, took a deep breath and said, "Look, my daughter closed yesterday. Maybe the paperwork hasn't made it to you yet. We're just moving in, that's all." If you've ever dealt with someone who gets off on authority, you know exactly what came next. Karen's face went red, then purple, and before I could blink, she was snapping pictures with her phone, narrating each shot like she was auditioning for CSI. Suburbia. Illegal vehicle on property, possible hazardous items, unknown persons. Emily started to look worried. "Dad, should we stop? I don't want to get off on the wrong foot." I told her, "Don't worry, honey. We're not doing anything wrong. Let her take her pictures." That only egged Karen on. She started listing made-up rules. Microwaves over 1,000 watts need approval. No blenders over 70 decibels. Appliances had to be pre-cleared. I almost laughed. I've spent most of my career as a regulatory attorney, and if there's one thing I know, it's how people like her operate. Make enough noise, throw around enough paperwork, and most folks just give up and do whatever they want. But we didn't. Karen's next move? She calls 911. Hand to God. Right there on the sidewalk. "Hello, this is Karen Peton, president of the Oakwood Commons HOA. I need police at Unit 47 for trespassers with an illegal moving truck. They're being aggressive." I glanced down at my khakis and polo, looking about as threatening as a golden retriever. Emily's hands started shaking. "I'm sorry, Dad. I didn't mean to cause all this." I put my arm around her and told her again, "It's okay. Just let her play this out." Karen stood there, guarding our truck like the world's angriest flamingo, while neighbors peeked through blinds. Honestly, I got the sense this wasn't her first rodeo. 10 minutes later, 2 squad cars roll up. Karen practically skips over to them, waving her arms, pointing, going on about criminal activity. The officers stroll over to us, one older, one younger, both with the sort of polite faces you get from years of listening to neighborhood drama. "Sir, we got a call about trespassing and suspicious activity," says Sergeant Morrison, looking more tired than suspicious. I explain calmly, "I'm Jake Dawson. My daughter Emily just bought Unit 47. We're just moving in. Here's my license if you need it." Officer Ramirez, the younger one, gives me a look, then says, "Wait, are you the attorney from Riverside? The HOA embezzlement case?" I nod. "That's me." Morrison's eyebrows shoot up, and suddenly the whole energy shifts. "My sister lived in that neighborhood. You're a bit of a legend around here." They turn to Karen, who's getting redder by the second. She starts ranting about rules and violations, listing off illegal truck, no permits, possible property damage. Ramirez just asks, "Which specific laws, ma'am?" Karen blinks, stammers about legally binding HOA rules. Morrison sighs, "Ma'am, HOA rules aren't the law. Unless they're actually breaking the law, there's nothing we can do. The look on Karen's face right then, if I could have bottled it, I'd be rich. But I didn't let up. Officers, since you're here, I'd like to file a harassment complaint. She's blocking us from accessing my daughter's home. Karen explodes. You can't file a complaint against me. I'm the HOA president. Ramirez says, actually, he can. Are you preventing them from entering? Karen starts to backpedal, but it's too late. Morrison tells her, let them move in, ma'am. Any HOA violations, handle it the right way, not with 911. As the cops walk away, I see something flicker in Karen's eyes. Most folks would cut their losses, but not her. No, she doubles down. You haven't heard the last of this, she hisses. I'll be inspecting every item that crosses your threshold. One violation and you're out. I shrug, pull out my phone, and say, funny, Karen, I was just about to review something myself. Like your HOA's records, financials, and election procedures. That's when I saw her confidence crack, just a bit. Those are private, she snaps. I give her my best courtroom grin. Not in this state. Every HOA member has the right to review those documents. My daughter's a member now. The next 3 days, while Emily unpacked, I went on a deep dive. The HOA's website was a fossil. No updated financials. No board election notices in years. Neighbors started coming out of the woodwork, eager to talk. Like the lid had just come off a pressure cooker. There were stories about $500 fines for kids' bikes on porches, flag permits, fees for flower colors. Turns out, Karen had been president for 8 years and nobody remembered ever voting. People were angry but also resigned. Until I knocked on their door. The twist came when I met Richard Thornton, a retired accountant who'd been quietly tracking discrepancies for years. He handed me a fat folder. I tried to review the books, but Karen stonewalled me. There's money missing. The math doesn't add up. I spent the next night combing through it. Transfers to strange accounts, missing audit trails, and not a single record of a valid board election since 2016. Karen hadn't just bent the rules. She'd snapped them like dry twigs. The final straw was when Emily got a violation notice for unauthorized window treatments. Her curtains were apparently eggshell instead of pure white. That's when I knew it was go time. I called for an emergency HOA meeting. Word spread fast. By the time the meeting started, the community center was packed. Karen at the head of the table, her usual board cronies nowhere to be seen. I stood, dropped a stack of documents with a bang, and said, I move to audit the HOA's financial records for the last 8 years. Karen shrieked, banged her gavel, tried to shut me up. You're out of order. Only board members can make motions. I just smiled. Page 47 of your bylaws, section 3. Any member in good standing can make motions at open meetings. The crowd murmured. A few people started flipping through their own dusty copies. Then I moved for immediate board elections, since there hadn't been any in 8 years. People were on their feet, seconding, thirding motions, voices rising. Karen was desperate, screaming about confidential HOA matters, waving paperwork, demanding order. I just read the relevant state statute out loud. Financials and elections must be open to member review. Richard stood up to second everything. Mrs. Patterson from Unit 12 joined in. At that point, it wasn't even a contest. The vote to dissolve the HOA passed by a landslide. 87 out of 93 units voted yes, with only Karen and her one loyal friend holding out. Karen's little kingdom collapsed right there. She started yelling, "You need me. This place will fall apart without me." But nobody was listening. People were hugging, some actually crying. The legal process dragged out another month. But in that time, more irregularities came out, enough that the district attorney opened a case. Karen had to pay back over $30,000 in bogus fines, lost her job in property management, and had her real estate license yanked. The last time I saw her was in court, face gray and hollow as the judge brought the gavel down and officially dissolved Oakwood Commons HOA. She tried to argue, tried to beg, I gave 8 years to this community. The judge just looked at her and said, "Ma'am, you gave yourself 8 years of unauthorized power. Case closed. So, was it worth it? Would you have done the same? I guess that's up to you. Some people say neighborhoods need order. Others say too much power just corrupts. Me? I just wanted my daughter to have a fair shot at a real home. And now, Oakwood Commons is finally free. Though if you ask me, there's still a little bit of Karen lurking in every HOA. Just waiting for someone to call her bluff. What do you think, was justice served? Or did things go too far? Drop your thoughts below. Let's hear your stories about neighborhood drama, power trips, or the time you stood up and actually won.